right, welcome to our second edition of Basement Boy Reviews, where we review all the summer blockbusters coming out. We did Furious 7 a couple weeks ago. We're going to do Age of Ultron tonight, which we got a chance to see last night. And then we're going to do Mad Max Fury Road next week, Ant-Man in July, Fantastic Four in August, and Jurassic World in June for sure. So those 4 or 5 for sure. We might throw a couple more in there. Just, always look at the channel, see what we got going on.
And that's just for summer. We still plan on reviewing.
Oh yeah, that's just the summer blockbusters. Just the big tentpole movies for the summer.
And I mean, if you guys have a specific movie you want us to review that's coming out.
Yeah, any special requests? We do take requests. Kind of like a karaoke night. We do take requests. All right, let's get to it. Well, obviously, I'm your host, Thor. With me, as always, Brian.
Hi.
There we go. All right, so Avengers Age of Ultron. Probably the biggest movie to come out this year. I don't think many people are questioning that. We'll see how Star Wars does, but it's probably going to be one of the bigger movies of the summer for sure, and it did not disappoint. I had extremely high expectations going into this movie, probably unrealistically high expectations going into this movie. And I got to say, all my expectations were met, if not exceeded. What did you think? Top of the head, first thoughts?
It was good. Very good. But it was one of those things where, like I told you, I could feel the 2.5 hours, but it zoomed by. I mean, I didn't feel it till I was like, whoa, we should be done here soon. I didn't
even realize, had no clue of what timing. The pacing of that movie is nuts. I mean, it starts from the opening scene, boom, action sequence. Then, it just goes quick. I did not realize 2.5 hours had blown by. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And, I didn't notice. So I think the pacing of the movie was really good. Obviously, the action scenes are unprecedented. I mean, there's some ridiculous action scenes. And for those of you worried that they showed too much in the trailers, they didn't.
No, not even close.
No, they showed a lot of the opening sequence stuff.
Well, even Ultron, you see so little of him in the trailer of Ultron. You see,
he's a giant part of that movie. He's in it more than I thought he would be.
Oh God, and he's looks so much different than what the trailers try to portray him as. That it's just
he's got the humor and stuff that the trailers don't portray. I mean, it is very dark. Let's not get it twisted. It is a much darker tone than the first one, but some of those one-liners when Tony and Ultron are on screen together and it's just back and forth, that is some priceless stuff. James Spader, I gotta say, I think hands down my favorite Marvel villain so far, just because of like we talked about with Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio, the layers. You know what I mean? There were layers to Ultron, and the best bad guys in movies are the ones who think they're doing the right thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So.
Well, and then he seemed almost like a child at points, not like he was a kid, but his understanding of things. You know what I mean? He'd so nonchalantly hurt someone and then be like, "Oh, sorry about that." That's gonna save whatever he just him brutally murdering someone or whatever happens to be the case if they use him in the future. He acts like it's something they can recover because he's a robot. So if you blow him up or blow an arm off or blow a leg off, he can just get a new one or whatever.
Because his consciousness is literally not in usually the body he's in. But yeah, no, he was just a really well utilized villain. I hope to see him again. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get any spoilers. No spoilers on this one. We did spoilers on the Furious 7. We're not going to do any spoilers on this one. I should have mentioned that on the top. Spoiler free. So,
well, and speaking of well done characters or whatever, Hawkeye in this is...
Oh, they really gave Hawkeye his due. After being a zombie of Loki's for the first, 2 hours of Avengers, the first one, they really showed some character development on that side. Getting to see some of his more inner workings and his personal stuff without divulging too much information. They add more to his character too, which I actually found myself at a certain point wanting more of him on the screen as well, where I was I was really engaged with that character and connected with that character, so I wanted to see more of that through story with him.
Well, and I like that they tease him that they poke
Yeah,
fun
oh, yeah.
that Hawkeye is like a background character,
Yep.
and he's just like, I'm not. I do so much work. Will you guys just give me some credit?
Right. Oh, and if you haven't seen that Jimmy Fallon thing I posted to our Facebook page earlier in the week, you gotta watch it. It is to die for hilarious. That is some quality stuff right there. Yeah, Hawkeye they did an awesome job with. I really liked how they Banner and Black Widow stuff. Not gonna, like I said, no spoilers, but they've already shown they have a connection in the trailers, and they really do delve deep into their connection, which I thought was a nice. It's not like a love story like sappy thing. It makes sense within the construct of the story they're telling, and actually kind of move the story along at certain points too. I think so. I think that was a well utilized romantic.
Well, and I feel like every character had their sort of bounce off character. Like Thor and Captain America seem to have their
they had a funny chemistry in this movie.
And a lot of good action was those two working together.
Yeah,
a lot of good
combo moves.
Like you see a little bit with the other guys, but 90% of the combo moves are with the shield and the hammer in some sort of whatever, whether it's they're hitting this or that, or those two comboed together.
That was some of my favorite stuff too. I mean, there's so many good action sequences in that movie. There's so much good about that movie. Is it better than the first? I hate that comparison because this movie, yes, they're the same.
Different.
It's Avengers, but it's a different movie. So I actually did think it was better than the first one.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, the first one had that specialty of seeing them all on the screen at the same time, but it was still an origin story for the Avengers.
Yeah.
When you jump into Age of Ultron, they're the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like you're off and running from the drop from the opening credits. You're going where it kind of builds slowly in the first Avengers. Oh, you get Captain America with Shield, and then they recruit the Hulk, and Tony comes in. Blah blah blah, and Thor shows up.
Yeah.
I think there was just more like build and less action. There was definitely more action in Age of Ultron than there was in the first one.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, what do you think? Do you think better than the first one, same, or a little bit less quality?
See, I think it would depend what you were asking as far as in reference, because the first one was like, I liked some of the dialogue, but I liked the dialogue in the sense that, like, when Captain America's asking Bruce Banner about some stuff or whatever, he's like, "Oh, you're Bruce Banner. I heard you're scientists they brought on for because you're scientists."
In the first one?
Yep. And then he's like, "Is that all you heard?" And he's like, "It's the only
thing
word
that
I can."
matters.
Yeah.
Only
And
thing that matters.
I'm like, they had a very good beginning interaction, whereas this one had, like we said, those pairs, those team ups where it's like battle hardened teams.
What was funny was Tony too could go with Tony and Bruce dynamic, Tony and Cap dynamic, even Tony and Thor dynamic. I gotta say that one of my favorite parts of that movie is the Vision. I'm not gonna give too much away, but the Vision is
fun
for sure. But he's gonna be a big part moving forward. I have a feeling he's gonna be huge moving forward. And there's something I actually didn't mention to you after we saw it last night, because there's a part at the end, and I won't say it because no spoilers. But I looked at you during it, and you're like, you had like a confused look on your face. I'll explain.
Yeah,
that
later.
After it,
Later.
but that's sidebar. Back to the movie though. The twins. What did you think of the twins?
I liked the dynamic between Hawkeye and Quicksilver. Those two had their
little back and forth.
Right.
Yep.
The twins were weird because it feels so weird going into it, and maybe it'd be different for someone who doesn't know who the twins were, but going in, I knew instantly who they were. I didn't need any this or that. Seen them on screen once before, knew who they were from the comic books. So it was weird seeing them because it was like seeing any of the other Avengers, like, oh, it's the twins there again. But then they're like explaining who they are, and it's like, well, we know who these guys are.
I mean, they don't go too deep into their explanation. They give more quick like synapses. I think
like
some
mug
of that was
shot
and some of that was
synapses.
necessary for people who don't know.
That's what I
like
mean.
we do. The one thing probably the biggest downfall of the twins is definitely the accents. Those accents weren't great. I mean, they're not horribly distracting, like god awful, but they're not.
I didn't mind them. There have been worse accents in Avengers.
I didn't like Elizabeth Olsen's accent was better than Pietro's.
Yeah.
That Quicksilver's accent I thought was the worst, especially.
But he doesn't talk as much.
No, but it's like every time he says something, I'm like, oh, that accent. Every time.
It didn't bother me that bad.
No, he yeah. No, I like that, and yeah, I mean overall. A great movie. Definitely gonna go see it again.
What's the worst part for you? Let's hear the worst thing about it, I should say.
I have to really think about this.
I can give you mine.
If you got one, go.
And it's not really a spoiler because it's like the first minute or two of the movie. That first action scene, the very beginning when the Avengers are assembling.
Yeah.
The CG in it was kind of rough.
Well, they've shown that shot though in the trailer a bunch of times where you see everybody jumping over.
Like Cap's on the motorcycle, and it's so obvious he's not even real. And I'm like, ugh.
I like that part though when he flips off the bike and throws the bike into that Jeep, which they've shown in the trailer. So again, no spoilers.
Didn't he do that exact same move in one of the other movies too?
It was a similar move because I watched that movie, the movie you're talking about, Winter Soldier, just that same night we saw Avengers last night. It's a similar move. It's not exactly the same.
Is that like one of his? Is that one of his
signature?
moves?
Like more of a signature? Yeah, I think so. I think they're building it in, but it'll be weird now.
Well, and they do a lot of weird crossovery things with that and stuff. Like in the second one, when Black Widow asks, "Where does Captain America learn how to steal a car?" It's because one of the old Captain America movies, he stole 2 cars in that movie. So it's like it's a joke back to that.
It's a wink, wink.
Which reminds me, did you see the cameo guy? I can't. Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Did you see his School of Cameo commercial?
No, I didn't.
You need to. They poke so much at Hulk in the sense they have to be trying to say we're trying to get a Hulk movie because they make a lot of Hulk references.
There's been a lot of talk about that lately, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think Universal still owns the right to solo Hulk films. It's kind of like the Spider-Man deal, where they can use them in the movies, but if it's a solo film, it's on their end. But we won't get too deep into that. I think the Hulk was used better in this movie than in the first one. That's the other thing. I think the utilization of the Hulk was better because it wasn't just
he wasn't like comedy relief as much.
No,
he was scary, which is the point. Being Hulk is scary, whereas in the first one, other than like the first little scene with Bruce Banner where he's talking about how he tried to kill himself and the green guy spit the bullet out, it's really not that scary otherwise.
Right.
And like the person they have fight the Hulk in the first one is Thor mostly.
Yep.
And you're not scared that Thor's going to die to the Hulk.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
When he fights Loki, he literally just grabs him and goes wham, wham, wham,
right.
wham, and then it's done.
He's like comedy relief in the first one, whereas this one, he gets
it's
scary
serious.
to some point.
It's a much darker tone than the first one, but there's tons of humor.
Yeah.
It's mixed together very well, the light and the dark and stuff like that. I really like the ending. I really like some of the stuff they set up for Civil War because you can definitely see, without spoiling anything, you can see a divide between Cap and Tony.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see the groundworks for what's going to happen moving forward. And I thought they ended it well. I mean, they tied up most of everything from Phase 2 here. You know, like things from Thor the Dark World, things from Guardians. They tied up a lot of stuff and also moved it forward for Phase 3. So, and then the mid credit scene. There's no end credit scene, but there's a mid credit scene. That was one of my favorites. I mean, just
it was real quick too.
It was very quick, but it was it had a very ominous tone. That's all I'm gonna say. Is that a very ominous tone?
I also like the little statue thing they had when they start the mid credits. There's like this.
Oh, before the mid credits, like
right before the
right when they start the credits, it's like it shows everybody, and then it backs out, and it's this sculpture.
It's really neat.
I need one of those for my desk.
Yeah, it's cool.
Or just anywhere in my house.
Put it our centerpiece on our table instead of the popcorn bucket.
Our ever-changing centerpiece. It was Groot 2 weeks ago that the people couldn't see what it was unless they look at our Instagram page, and now it's Avengers that you can kind of see. But yeah, so we got to find something big enough to where like maybe we get a Stormtrooper helmet or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Get a Halo helmet. We'll just stick it there. But we're way off topic now. So overall, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 4 hammers. It's definitely, I think, better than the first. Definitely go see it opening weekend. The one thing I'm gonna say is we saw it in 3D. Don't pay to see it in IMAX 3D. See it in 2D. I think it's gonna be a better experience in 2D. I'm actually going to see it in 2 days with my 8-year-old nephew and my brother and everybody, and like I'm looking forward to seeing it in 2D because I think it's gonna be a different experience.
Yeah.
So don't waste the money for IMAX 3D. Just go see it in 2D. I got a couple headaches. I didn't think it was. I mean, it was converted. It wasn't shot.
See, I didn't have as many problems. I wouldn't necessarily. If you love seeing movies in 3D, yeah, it's worth it.
Oh, you're gonna go out to see it regardless of what I say, anyways.
But if you're like a 3D person, it's not a big deal. It's whatever. So,
all right. Well, that being said, I'm getting the cue that it's time to cut this one off. We're going to wrap this episode of Basement Boy Reviews, Age of Ultron. As always, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Basement Boy Band till you come across us. I'm your host, Thor. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. Thor is great. Brian, say goodbye to the people.
bye, people.
We'll see y'all next time. If you like what you just saw, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like our Facebook page.
Yeah, should I buy short shorts and then go up to you and be like, hey, you need a spot? And then you're like, all that's hanging in your face is just Brian's balls from his 80s shorts. And I'm like, the only thing is it's as smooth as an egg. And like completely shaved. He's hairy everywhere else, but he's got smooth, shiny balls. Yeah.